of, as you're talking it through, is back to what I said earlier about this long-term perspective. And so Medici was building these buildings that were taking forever. I mean, some of these things he was doing wouldn't even be around, in his lifetime, for example. And what Bukele's doing in El Salvador, he probably, he may not be alive to see really the full fruit of what he's planting right now today. And just compare that to Biden in the United States. I mean, just this week or now last week, the Fed pivoted off of their stance of tightening monetary policy because we have an election coming up. It's like, let's just focus on the next 9 months. Like, forget about my kids and my grandkids. Let's focus on the next 9 months. And so it's like, that's in stark contrast. Another stark contrast is you have Europe putting in these laws over the internet, which is basically going to make them like have a great firewall like China. I mean, like literally that's like the path they're going down. And so we see this like one shift towards more communism, if you will, and one going towards more freedom. I want to go back to what you'd said, Stacy, because I'm pretty interested in this. I've been trying to get information from you guys since you left to go down to El Salvador. But you talked about, now starting to attract some of the best and the brightest people into El Salvador. I think, people, to your point, sort of attached to it spiritually. They want to go to a place that has freedom. And even though it may not be as nice as where they're at, the direction is right. And if there's strong private property rights and freedom, then this is a good place to start businesses and things like that. So what is the path now? I know they just recently announced some sort of initiative to get people to come down there. There's like a new freedom passport or something like that. It's like, what's the path for somebody to come down, move down there, start a business, invest into the country, build companies, et cetera?
Well, of course, you can email us at the Bitcoin office, onbtc@presidencia.gov.sv, and we will help, onboard any Bitcoiners. Also, we will be having a website soon for Bitcoiners in particular. We have a freedom passport, and that is part of our Renaissance 2.0 and attracting the best and the brightest. So you can see what President Bukele has managed in just 2 years. Yes, I mean, he's been in office for 4 years, but for the first 2 years, he did not have any control of Congress. So for 2 years now, you've seen what he's done with the ability to lead. And what he's done is quite remarkable. Not only has he transformed the economy through Bitcoin, but he's rebranded the country from the most dangerous on earth to the coolest place that everybody wants to be, right? So he's rid the country of gangs that had plagued the country for decades. He rid the country of these two plunder politics, right? These two parties that plundered the nation over and over. Like when we're doing a lot of work with volcano energy and the Bitcoin mining here, one of the things you note is that a lot of the electric grid was basically plundered for the past 40, 50 years by those two parties. They didn't, any money that came towards investing in the grid, they just stole it. The president of the time would steal it and flee to Nicaragua or flee to the United States. There's one former president of El Salvador that stole $1 billion, and
Wow.
he's in the U.S. being harbored there. So
I saw Zelensky's buying like a $20 million house in Florida now. Same
exactly.
thing. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what we had here, and that's what's over, and he's done that in just 2 years. So what we're trying to attract is, yes, we already have like the best and brightest coming here in terms of a lot of Bitcoiners moving here, individuals and entrepreneurs and companies setting up headquarters here, and that's the sort of adoption we want to see. There is a pretty easy path to certainly residency here. It doesn't cost much, and it's pretty easy. You could just move here. You don't need, it's not difficult like, say, moving to Canada or the United Kingdom. It's super easy and pretty cheap. Now, with our Freedom Passport, which is $1 million, it's $1 million. It's a very, very fast path to passport. Most people should qualify within 6 weeks. They get a new passport. Based on our KYC, criminal background check, all the stuff you have to do, but it's $1 million, and it's a donation. It's a citizenship by donation. It's not an investment. There's no big, vast bureaucracy around this. It's like you're donating to what President Bukele is doing. He's expanding the domain the public domain of economic liberty. That is his policy. Bitcoin, by the way, falls under his larger policy of economic liberty. Economic liberty also encapsulates what he's done with the security and securing life, liberty, and property for the people. So you're basically, it's attracting a lot of very early Bitcoiners, Bitcoin whales, billionaires who want to be the one to make a change. They want to leave a legacy, right? Like, because anybody could go buy a passport in St. Kitts and hang out with Roger Ver for $250,000, $300,000. But here, you could be in the history books as part of, like, if Medici had invited you to come have dinner with him and Da Vinci and Machiavelli and all Botticelli and all the cool people hanging out, Michelangelo hanging out in Florence, like, you would do it, right? You would pay $1 million to be at that table and have a say in building the future that Florence did achieve.
Yeah. So $1 million if you want to fast track it and donate to the cause and sort of have that passport. Otherwise, anybody could move down there, start a business, and just apply for, I guess, probably temporary residency, then get a permanent residency and sort of go down that path. It's probably a 5-year path, I'm guessing.
It's a 5-year path, and you can go, there's 2 sort of entities that could help you with onboarding to that path of residency and business formation and ultimately citizenship. And that would be Accelerate SV.io. So Accelerate SV is the country symbol for El Salvador .io, and the other is ASO Bitcoin, the Association of Bitcoin in El Salvador. So asobitcoin.org, and they're also on Twitter. So you could go to them. It's like, I don't know, don't quote me on the numbers, but it's like less than $1,000 to get legal help to help you onboard. But you could do it yourself if you can read Spanish, and a lot of it is in English. If you go to the migration website of El Salvador and you could figure your way out there, it might be less than $100 to apply for a residency visa.